Boy, oh boy, we got some strange things happening, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got so many things to get into, as usual, in this video. Lots of things happening overnight. We have, of course, a huge gathering of people outside a building. Oh yes, we'll get into this in a second. We have, of course, what was imposed on Canada and how I basically said this is what's going to be a result of it, that it was simply a tool to get his way, and that is exactly what it ended up being. We'll get into that. Of course, we have here a number of other things we're going to get into. Strange things, of course, in the skies. Again, we'll get into some of that as well. And a ton of other stuff. Even this ridiculous view from France. Apparently 2 Germans went on vacation in Paris, bought a cheap hotel, and this is what they ended up seeing. I'll get into that as well. Let's just start here. Let's start with this wonderful gathering outside the USAID building. Apparently not exactly liking how it was defunded. And of course, it's kind of interesting because they said it wasn't an apple with a worm in it, it was a ball of worms. And it's really curious why. Also, we have a certain famous person that's complaining about it on The View. You're not going to believe who that gets funding from this. You're not going to believe it. Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's just play this clip first.
As you probably saw, Elon Musk and his crew put a gag order on AID employees. They disconnected them from email, which is putting lives at risk around the world. So we are here to enter the building and
let's go.
Yay! Yay!
They're going to try to go.
Yeah, they're going to try to go in the building, and this is kind of interesting because they can't get in. They can't get in. I wonder why. Maybe because it's been locked.
Inside. Let's. All right. Here it comes.
Oh, the turnstile doesn't work. You can't get in a locked building. I can't believe we didn't think of that before we came here. Yeah, so of course they've been defunded. And there's some people complaining. Even a really famous CEO of a certain company, very infamous guy, and a lot of people are not exactly have the greatest thoughts about. We'll get into him. Billy Boy the computer guy is what I usually call him. Where is that at? I got it around here somewhere. Man, I got so many windows open. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. This guy. Oh my goodness, he's complaining. Yeah, he's complaining about this. Let's just get into this really quick. Play what he had to say. Check this out.
A lot of private sector people, when they get into government, they don't take the time necessarily to see what the good work is or why it's structured the way it is. So I'm a little worried, particularly with this USAID stuff. My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out. And, there's some...
Wow. No way. This guy partners with him? I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Incredible people.
Said there's incredible people that work at this location, of course, funding all these apparently things that don't actually relate to their original mission. Their original mission is to help out the needy and stuff, and apparently it's ended up instead being basically a massive funding tank for those, of course, on the left. That's kind of interesting. It's a little interesting, particularly some of the other stuff that they're funding, and we'll get into that as we get farther into this video. Why did he put a 25% tax or tariff, of course, on Mexico and Canada? Everyone's thinking like this is some permanent thing. No, I was saying on my other channel, I don't know if I said it on this channel, but I know I said on my other channel, it was merely a tool. I think I said it on this channel too. It was merely a tool to get things done. That was all it was about. And he knew that he had him on the hook because Canada, most of their economy is built off our economy. 70+% of their economy is directly reliant on our economy. 25% tariff would literally be the worst for them. It's like basically you're working for your boss and your boss says, you're going to make 25% less money now. That's basically what it is, because we're pretty much their boss, because 3/4 of their economy is directly from our economy, because they do a lot of manufacturing with various companies. You know, I used to work for a semi-truck company called Navistar. You know, we would have a supplier in Canada that would build a certain assembly or some part that would go on the vehicle. That's what it was all about. So, of course, they were really freaking out over this. It's like, oh, we can't sell these parts anymore. We would have all our competition, and it would be far worse than it sounds. It would be worse than a 25% dock on your pay. It would be like trying to convince your customers to pay 25% more. They ain't going to do it. They're going to buy from someone else probably. So you're going to lose a lot of money. So the whole point was to get him to do something. And today it's already happened, right? But everyone couldn't understand this. Here you have Cenk Uygur showing how little he understood about this.
If he keeps digging and digging, and we have an extended trade war with Canada, Mexico, and China, then it's going to turn into a disaster.
He won't do that, because ultimately...
Well, of course he's not going to do it. That's the entire point. It was merely a tool to get something done, and we've already seen the result of it. It's right here. And like I said, we're going to get into a ton of stuff. I got some crazy footage to show you. Honestly, I was going to show you this on the next video. I think I'm going to show it to you on this video. Okay, so we got this UFO footage. I have never seen anything like this before, ever. You've never seen anything like this. It looks like a little battle in the sky. With like, not normal either. This is like crazy looking, okay? I'll show you that in a little bit. We're going to get into a lot of other stuff in this video. We're going to talk about what's going on with Reddit. All these crazy things going on all at the same time. We got Walmart. We got a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, let's get into some of this other stuff. So the fact is, we had a lot of people really concerned. We had companies already within a day wanting to move to America. Canada food companies plan to expand production to U.S. They were so concerned, they were almost ready to move. They're ready to move right now. Okay? They're probably going to end up doing, well, you know, they're probably going to set up base in America, just like what we saw with Toyota. Toyota, there was a bunch of tariffs on cars back some years ago, many years, decades, I think a couple decades ago. And Toyota just straight up made a deal with GM and built plants in America. And that's one of the few companies that did that. But that's what they would have probably ultimately ended up doing. It would have probably been GM and Ford co-opting with some Canadian companies, bringing all the manufacturing over to America if the tariff would have stuck. That's what would have happened. We would have more jobs over here in America. That's what it would have been. That's what happened before in the past with those type of situations. But the fact is, that was not the point. This was the and sometimes it will be a tariff that sticks, but this was what he was trying to do this time. Okay? So it's all a bargaining tool. Canada surrenders. After a phone call, Canada PM just announced the following 1.3 billion, of course, border, plan. Nearly 10,000 of their finest dispatched to safeguard. Under pressure from our side. Concedes 30-day delay on U.S. tariffs. And you can see it's only a 30-day delay on tariffs, meaning he has them under his thumb now. That's the entire point. So he's having them secure, of course, their side. He did the exact same thing to Mexico. Matter of fact, it's actually already happened. I can show this here. This is how many things have happened already. Mexico caved, Panama caved, Colombia caved, Venezuela caved, Canada now caved. It's just like crazy. It's just all in a row because it works so effectively. Now we have the canceling of the USA, ID funding canceled, and that was pretty crazy. Let me show you that. Check this out. So we had a lot of this being shown. We had Bill, of course, Kristol here, said that the deep, of course, state is far more preferable to the current state. And then this guy wrote, "Hello, Mr. Kristol. For you, the deep, of course, state is preferable because you are listed as the president of defending, democracy, which is an indirect beneficiary of this particular organization, U.S., of course, AID, through the Rocca, of course, Feller." Oh, that's a weird name. Where have I seen that before? Advisors. And, of course, this is what's been figured out with regards to this. And now, of course, we have AP here saying that the duo moved to dismantle USAID igniting battle with Democratic lawmakers. This is from AP, which, by the way, is also a Raqqa, of course, Feller. A lot of people know that. I think it was started initially from that, but that's another whole topic. But it's just kind of interesting, right? That name seems to pop up a lot. You have, of course, it was absorbed, AID absorbed into the State Department under Rubio. Rubio just went to, where did he just go? He went to Panama, right? Yeah, Panama. And he just made a deal over there, too. So that's a different thing, though. But the point is, if you go through some of these tweets regarding Doge and what they're doing, you have a really interesting one now, down here. Did you know the U.S., AID was using your tax dollars to fund bio things? I'm gonna, you know what it is. Research over there. You remember the whole 2020 thing? Apparently funding research over there. Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, that's kind of weird. They funded that. Oh, that's kind of strange. What else did they do? Wow. This is what Elon says here. They're criminal. Says that. What was it up here? And this is an interesting one he said here. Let me show you this. As we dug into the USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we actually have just a ball of worms. If you have an apple with a worm in it, you can take the worm out. If you have a whole ball of worms, it's hopeless. He says it's basically there's no apple. I need to get rid of the whole thing, he said. So apparently they're funding a lot of stuff that were not related to what they're supposed to, their mission. Okay? And, of course, now that Doge is doing all this, people on Reddit are going crazy, apparently. They want to stop him. Muskrat's Doge henchman has been identified. And, of course, they're like trying to figure out who people are that are working for him. They're going all Reddit on him and this whole thing. I find it interesting they're doing that because you want the Treasury to be efficient. You want us to spend American tax dollars for efficient things. You don't want a bunch of waste. You don't want people getting free paychecks, doing nothing, right? So why are these guys getting all freaked out over this? Are maybe some of these people getting a free paycheck from something through the? That's a good question. I don't know. It seems, or maybe they just are, motivated. Oh, we don't like these guys. We're going to do this. I don't know what it is, but they're clearly going towards that direction on Reddit. And of course, I played this clip earlier. Someone was commenting that we fixed the glitch. I don't know if you've ever seen this video. It's pretty hilarious. This is from Office Space. Hilarious movie from like 20 years ago about office work. And these guys go in to, make the company more efficient. The company's called Initech. And so it's kind of like Doge, right? And it's really funny because, just check this out. So let me explain. So there's an employee that's been getting a paycheck for many years. He was supposed to be laid off years ago. And they just fixed the glitch. Check this out.
And is that he was laid off 5 years ago and no one ever told him about it. But through some kind of glitch in the payroll department, he still gets a paycheck.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
Great. So, Milton has been let go.
Well, just a second there, Professor.
We fixed the glitch. So he won't be receiving a paycheck anymore, so it'll just work itself out naturally.
We always like to avoid confrontation whenever.
This is so hilarious because what ends up happening is one of the managers over on this side decides to put him down in the basement, like the dungeon, the worker, and just gives him all this ridiculous work to do down in the basement. And he's not getting a paycheck. He keeps saying, I didn't even get a paycheck last week. And he's like a nerd. He's like talking like this. I didn't get my paycheck for 3 weeks now. And he's like still there at work, working in the basement, just doing this ridiculous work. And he's not getting paid. So it's pretty ridiculous movie. And in the end, he gets revenge, though. It's kind of funny in the end. But You'll definitely want to go check the movie out. It's called Office Space. But the point is of course, with the USAID, we just fixed the glitch, so they're not going to get paid anymore for things that have nothing to do with what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So it has to do with the LA fires. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. This is pretty good.
In the entire state of California, virtually unlimited water, which they could have done 5 years ago, which I told them they should do, but the environmentalists stopped them. And we opened it and we did it regardless of the state. And now the state seems to be very happy. I spoke with...
So, oh yeah, here, let me play it a little bit more.
Gavin Newsom, and he's...
you saw he corrected himself.
By the other name, didn't I?
Yeah, he was going to say his pet name for Gavin Newsom, but he apparently he says it all the time. He had to correct himself before he accidentally said it wrongly, so it's pretty funny. But he said that he's going to give them unlimited water, so they'll never have this problem of no water to put out a blaze in the future. It had a lot to do with the environmentalists, apparently. This is what it was, according to him. Now, of course, we have now apparently McDonald's and a number of other companies abandoning the DE, of course, McDonald's and tons of other companies are caving to pressure because apparently no one really cares about this stuff anymore. And again, why were they doing this? It's not because they care about these communities, about the gay community or something. It's because they wanted to make extra money from that community. And this is what people don't understand. So let me play this clip here. It's kind of interesting. It kind of encapsulates what I'm talking about here. Let me see. I gotta hit refresh, and hopefully there's no ad.
Black Echo Chamber. It was a force.
Okay, here we go. So check this out. Let's play this.
I've always found it really bizarre and pathetic when parts of the LGBT community fall for overt rainbow capitalism.
Yeah.
Essentially, when a corporation panders to them, they suddenly feel compelled to consume that corporation's products and defend that corporation with every breath. It's like, bro, don't you realize that you're being treated like a tool? Like they don't actually care. They just want your money, and or they use this stuff to hide their own controversies.
Right, and of course, some of these controversies are where they get caught, where they're not hiring these type of people, and they also get caught in these various situations, touchy situations, and get lawsuits over it, and then they pander more and put out more rainbows to make themselves look like they're on board. And it's all about just making money. That's what it is. It's about making money. And McDonald's, of course, was one of them. McDonald's Diversity Scholarship now open to non-Latinos after a lawsuit because, of course, again, they were just doing this to get brownie points to get more people to buy their stuff. But now that it's not popular, a lot of these companies are dropping it because it's not popular anymore. It's not about they're backing you no matter what. It's about, can we get more money if we promote this? So it was a marketing ploy to get money, and now it's no longer working, so they're quitting it. That's basically what's happening. I'll get over some of the other more important topics. We're going to get into this whole thing with a third plane crash in 2 days. Is it 3 days? It's like every day there's a new one, right? We'll get into that. We're going to get into this crazy UFO footage and a much more. First, I got to mention Food Supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 4 weeks worth for $197. You're going to definitely want to get this if you haven't already. Link is in the description. You never know what's next. Around us, everything seems to be something crazy the next day, so you might want to be prepared for whatever's next. This book here, The Lost Ways, how your great-great-grandfather lived without electricity, how to build a cellar, do things around the house like they did in good old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely want to get that book as well. Get the printed version before something happens. You're not going to be able to buy it after the power goes out. $37 plus shipping. Get the printed version. Link is in the description. So let's get back to the video. So we have, and actually go check out all of the links below. We have here another plane crash. And I think this is the new one. Wasn't the other one in Philadelphia as well? Yeah, this is a different Philadelphia one. Wasn't the other one in Philadelphia? One was in DC, one was in... Was it? Oh my goodness, I'm losing track now. Number of people. This one's 24 people now. Okay, 24 people in Philadelphia. Northeast Philadelphia plane crash. Now 24 Mayor Cheryl Parker announced Monday of those people, 4 in the hospital, and number of people that are no longer with us related to the crash remains at 7. 6 people were on the plane, 1 person on the ground. I think this is a different one. Okay, and then so we have 3 of them now. Yeah, okay, so you got the Philadelphia one. You got the Northeast Philly. Yeah, so so Northeast Philly. And then you got the one in DC. And what was the other one? I'm trying to remember. There's a third one. I know there's a third one. I don't know why it's not shown here. Let's go check X because it's easier sometimes. Third plane crash. Let's see if I'm missing something here. Oh yeah, here we are. What is this one? No, that was... Yeah, here it is. Is this it? Oh yeah, three in a week. Got to. The first was Tuesday. 80 million U.S. military jet literally fell out of the sky in Alaska. Okay, the one was in Alaska. I didn't know about that. No, actually, there's 4 now. Okay, 4. What's going on here? 4th aircraft incident was the Alaska one. What? So there's 4 now? What in the world is going on? There's 4 in a week. 4 in a week. Okay, that's a lot, dude. So there's 4 in a week. Alaska, I think there's 2 in Philly and 1 in DC or something. Man, I'm losing track. There's so many of them. At any rate, there's a lot. Okay, there's a lot of those going on right now. Then we have, of course, some rather curious videos. I found, again, we have more orbs, things of that nature. See if I can get it on the screen. That doesn't really work. All right, let's try this. Check this out. This is yet another weird example. I don't know. Some say this could be electricity, but it doesn't look like electricity to me. That looks very bizarre. Like, does that look like electricity to you? It doesn't look like that's just electricity. Yeah, I'm sure electricity acts like that all the time. That doesn't look like electricity to me. All right, I don't know about you, but so that was one of the comments underneath the video. Of course, we have this one. This is from 2014. I think I can get this one on the screen better. No? Man, this should be on the screen better than this. Let me try this. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alright, let's try this one. You can see, and he actually goes into slow motion with the whole thing. And you can see it disappear into the mountain. And he does it even slower and slower and slower. And it makes it very obvious. See that one? Look at this one. It's like super slow. What's going on here? It's going super slow. This is 1/6. You saw it disappear right into the mountain. What in the world is that? Alright. You can even see it disappear. It like halfway is in the mountain and then is fully into the mountain. Like, I don't think that's just yeah, that looks like it's disappearing into the mountain. Okay, alright. So you got that strange video as well. And of course, we've had a lot of strange things of recent. Some are wondering if this is not just weird coincidences. Planes, of course, crashing, Black Hawk, the whole barge thing, drones, just all the weird stuff of recent. Makes you wonder what is going on in our world.
Guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know, a couple, like, I would say a month, a little bit ago, we talked about a massive hack in the US Treasury, and you know, it was all about this Chinese organization known as Salt Typhoon basically getting into one of the most important federal agencies in the country. So since then, there's been some updates. The office, the actual cybersecurity agency of the US, CSIA, actually went in and said, yeah, we're going to be sanctioning this one company associated with this super scary Chinese government-associated hacker group known as Salt Typhoon. And of course, the person they named was Yin Keqing, a Shanghai-based actor, and of course, they put him on the OFAC, which is a sanction list that contains some of the most hated people of the United States. So cyber attackers, terrorists, just bad organizations. And this guy is forever immortalized right now on the OFAC. Now, I would talk more about this if it wasn't for the fact that Elon Musk is a winner, boys. Elon is probably one of the most impressive dudes that I've seen buy his way into a presidency. And again, there's a lot of people that hate the guy, but to be honest with you, I almost in some villainous way respect him. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, the new president has come in, and of course alongside that, there's a new government agency called Doge. Now, if you haven't seen Doge's website, well, unfortunately, I have been blocked. I cannot access doge.gov. And of course, as much as I tried to, it is an inaccessible website. But thanks to the Wayback Machine, you can in fact confirm this is an official website of the United States government. The people voted for major reform. And of course, at some point earlier down the road, they had this AI heart of a Shiba Inu. I don't understand why Dogecoin is worth 27 cents per coin. This should actually be higher than Bitcoin's $99,000, okay? I mean, at least Dogecoin is now forever immortalized as an advisory agency to the U.S. government. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what Doge is a temporary organization underneath the Doge Service, formerly known as the United States Digital Service. Doge is not a federal executive department, which again, if you've ever studied any thing about the United States government, I think the U.S. government is probably one of the coolest structured governments in the world. There's three branches: the legislative, the executive, and of course the judicial branch. And from my understanding, it is the Congress, which would be part of the legislative branch, that has the ability to create new federal agencies. This is kind of a agency that's, again, designed more of an advisory commission, something that still requires, or should require, U.S. government approval. And of course, its purpose is to reduce wasteful spending and eliminate unnecessary regulations, which, to be honest, I personally think is kind of a noble goal. There's a lot of wastage that happens in every government. And sometimes if you look through the budget list, you might find a few things that you might wonder, am I really sending millions of dollars to this random nonsense? Let's cut that out. It's kind of like the U.S. government's effectively, if this is treated the right way, getting fucking audited. Now, again, it would be cool in theory, but obviously stuff like this may be more politically motivated. It might not be perfect. But why did I start this video off with the whole U.S. Treasury and the Chinese hack? Well, it wasn't for no reason, ladies and gentlemen. It is because currently it appears that Elon Musk now has access to the United States Treasury system. So if you've been kind of following what's been happening the last couple days, Doge gains access to sensitive Treasury data, apparently including things like Social Security and the Medicare payment system. So this is a huge, huge deal, and Elon's been kind of going through the system and talking about it. The Doge team discovered that amongst many things, payment approval officers at the Treasury were instructed to always approve payments, even to known fraudulent or even terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once. Now, of course, if this is true, if the evidence provided is right, that's actually kind of scary. Now, for people who are, again, investigating this, and there's been, again, journalists who are on the ground looking at this entire kerfuffle, they have said the civil servants who oversee the OPMs, Information Technology Services, were instructed to provide access to Musk's associates. According to the OPM staffers who spoke to MuskWatch, which is an organization that watches one of the richest dudes in the world and just sees their actions, one of these staffers received an email from the agency's new leadership instructing to give access to the team a admin user, which meant code read and write permissions. So they have access to the code itself, which means they can make updates to anything that they want. Now, obviously, this is a pretty scary situation, and I don't really jump into things like politics. This is not really my wheelhouse, but I do make content that is focused on cybersecurity material. And for people that are in the cybersecurity world, this is a scary situation for really anybody. It's almost like the doomsday scenario. To give you an idea, I don't work in the federal government. In fact, I haven't worked in any federal government. But I do know people that obviously are adjacent and have worked in these organizations. And usually there is a lot of background checking, a lot of security clearances, And generally speaking, when you've got a guy that's generally a foreign national, even though I think Elon is a U.S. citizen, when you don't really have everything set in stone, it is really scary to give your information up to a foreign person, right? Again, the Chinese guys were super duper bad for hacking into the treasury, but you also shouldn't be giving somebody else nearly complete mythic access to one of the most secure facilities, or should be one of the most secure agencies in the country. I mean, you literally gave the guy access to your wallet. It's like me giving my credit card to somebody and just trusting them with it. I mean, this is a pretty scary situation. And again, you know, I feel like for most people, and again, I'm more of a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat type of guy when it comes to this shit, I would be pretty worried, okay? Genuinely speaking. And the fact that I'm seeing people argue about whether this is right or wrong is a little bit worrying, okay? I think everybody should band together and be like, yeah, I don't think we should be giving anybody access to this, unless they have been very much vetted. Now, about after a day that this broke out, you know, this whole kerfuffle, this whole magical usurping of the U.S. Treasury system, Wired wrote an interesting article where they actually revealed the names of some of the engineers that are aiding what they call a government takeover. So the young engineers involved in all this, the experts, I guess, in this situation, involve Akash Baba, Edward Korstein, Luke Ferreter, Gautier Killian, Gavin Kleiger, and even Xiao Tron. What in the hell is that? What in the Mortal Kombat hell is that last name? I mean, I know my last name is Anus, for crying out loud, but come on now. But again, no joke over here. I was looking into more of these people, and it turns out, again, the more and more I look into it, these people, ever since they've been basically, you know, outed by a lot of these journalist groups and basically the internet. And again, for anybody saying this is doxing necessarily, giving out a first and last name in this situation isn't so much doxing. And remember, when you do work for, again, a federal agency, when you do work, this wouldn't technically be one, but when you do work in the public sector, when you do work in the government, you're effectively a doxed individual, and transparency is very much a key requirement, especially when you're involved in such sensitive systems. I have no issue with people, again, having their names out. Right? If I work in a sensitive part of the government, I would probably expect that you, again, expect my name to be public information. But now that it's out there, again, these individuals started effectively scrubbing that information. For instance, this Akash Baba guy, when I was looking at who this person was, there was a podcast that was uploaded over here where they talked about actually working at an internship for Meta, which I thought was pretty cool. Companies like Palantir, super duper interesting stuff that when you start off with in your resume, you're basically set for life. So I started looking up this podcast, and lo and behold, shit's just getting removed. Okay? When I started looking up this Edward guy, for instance, Edward Korstein, this individual apparently looks, again, hairdo all aside, relatively young looking dude. I mean, goddamn. If you're wondering, man, Muda, isn't this guy a little too young to be working inside or to be planted in at the Treasury? I don't know, dude. I have no idea, but Sonic's right. Remember, you did this to yourself. If you voted for this, I guess. Luke Ferreter, again, a young individual who is somebody that focuses on robotics, machine learning, embedded systems, software engineering, and they work for places like Marble Technologies, Blue River. Again, seems like a pretty interesting, again, resume. But again, going in further into it, the amount of, you know, deletions and the amount of privacy like, or lockdowns on Twitter and things like that are things that I genuinely do question as to why they're happening. Cole Killian, a website that I looked up through the Wayback Machine, ended up leading me to, again, Cole's, I assume to be website, where they talk about their memetics adjacents to utilitarianism, effective altruism, rationalism, closed individualism. And again, some of the books that have influenced them are Superintelligence, Gaming the Future, Rationality, A to Z. But one of the recommended posts that I wanted to read was Don't Be a Maxi, because I, of course, have an interest in the cryptocurrency scene. And they do talk about their connection and their, you know, not being a maxi for Bitcoin and everything, so on and so forth. I think, again, if you're interested in reading some of the stuff, the Wayback Machine is a beautiful, beautiful piece of tech. And of course, our friend Ethan Xiao Tron is apparently a Harvard senior that is developing an AI schedule assistant called Spark. I love this dude, by the way. AI note taker. My next goal is to onboard 3 large enterprises and have them using Spark at a company-wide level, which means I'm on a lot of calls. I use an AI note taker to make sure I just stay focused on the call and not get distracted by writing things down. These note takers describe the conversation and make a summary that is easy to refer to later. I really hope the best in this guy's business endeavors, dude. Honestly, like, that might be the only AI tool that I could probably consider using at the actual workplace. That might actually be helpful, okay? So again, you know, the U.S. Treasury has basically been twinked up at the moment, all right? You know, wild stuff indeed. And the thing about it is, too, obviously there's been, again, a severe amount of backlash, which, again, you can understand why it comes out to when people are wondering, whoa, why are we just letting unregistered people, unverified individuals, you know, into a pretty sensitive part of the government? Again, as somebody that has made content focusing on cybersecurity, at the end of the day, there is nothing more dangerous than, you know, not having, like, you know, a foreign country hacking you. It's when you just have people invading in and allegedly installing servers and hard drives into one of the most sensitive parts of the country. Again, like I said earlier before I went down this tirade, it's a cybersecurity nightmare. People don't know what kind of code is running on these servers. Servers that are, again, owned and operated by the federal government that should work for you. So when it came to another different office, this was the Defendant Office of, like, the Personal Management, which is a different department in the U.S. Federal agencies. But one of the actual lawsuits actually brought up Elon Musk and the possibility for an unknown OPM email server. So according to this lawsuit, somewhere on the 27th of January, an OPM employee unknown posted to a union chat, which was later posted on, like, Reddit. And then according to this Reddit message, an OPM employee for nearly a decade and a Fed for almost 20 years, incoming political appointees have sent numerous requests to all the agencies to collect information on government employees. The Reddit message further specifies instructions say to send these lists to Amanda Scales. But Amanda is not actually an OPM employee, she works for Elon Musk. According to her LinkedIn page, she works for xAI, which is obviously Elon's, like, AI company. And according to the Reddit message in particular, our CIO, Melvin Brown, also a non-political career public servant, was pushed aside just 1 week into his tenure because he refused to set up email lists to send out direct communication to all career civil servants. Such communications are normally left up to each agency. Instead, an on-prem email server was set up. Someone literally walked into our building, plugged in an email server to our network to make it appear that emails were coming from OPM. It's been the one sending those various test messages you've all seen. We think they're building a massive email list for all federal employees to generate mass risk notices down the road. Again, just from a cybersecurity perspective, if this lawsuit is true, this is a pretty scary situation that should alarm pretty much anybody living. It shouldn't really be a political topic. You just shouldn't allow unknown servers to even exist, especially when it comes to government, offices. You should be asking questions. You should be wondering what is actually running on these servers. What's going on? Why are these people in some of the most sensitive parts of the country? Especially systems that have your personal information on them. Systems that involve Medicare, Social Security, a lot of these things. Now, unfortunately, there have been crazy Reddit boards like r/WhitePeopleTwitter, which of course has been banned. Obviously, Elon had a bit of a spat with this. And again, I never even knew that there was a board called White People Twitter to begin with before this day, which I think is a wild name. Like, imagine having, like, a board like Black People Twitter, Indian People Twitter, just, like, insane shit. So, of course, they started posting things like Musk's Doge henchmen have been identified. And they said some real wild shit on here. Their names drag their fucking bodies. I'll say it. This needs to be... I mean, I can't even read this on YouTube because it literally is, like, promoting actual violent calls. Again, if you're Fed posting like this, if you're actually typing this on the internet, congratulations. When the FBI knocks on your fucking door, don't be surprised. No one's going to be defending you. This is not the way to react in these situations. And again, it shows, like, how unhinged some people get with stuff like this. You should be asking questions. You should be asking for, again, your federal agencies to be investigating this. The fact that this happened and the FBI isn't doing anything about it should have you asking some pretty serious questions. But acting like this is just actually unhinged. Now again, at the end of all this, the most important aspect to talk about is if that team really does have full access to the federal payment system. You, as a taxpayer, should probably question that, right? Like, if you give money to the Internal Revenue Service, I mean, hey, I do too every year, but if you're a citizen of the country, you should probably ask questions why a private individual has this much access and why the government let it occur. I mean, this is clearly literally almost, if you wanted to really go to the extreme extrapolation, it's almost like a coup. It's almost like a usurping like actual straight up real power. And what more power is there than basically having access unfettered to the entire financial system of the federal government? That is really, really freaky. There is no hacker in the world that could do even more wild shit than what you just saw here. I mean, I literally cannot even cover a story. I don't even think there can ever exist a story bigger than this. That's why I said I really do have some serious villainous respect for somebody like Elon Musk. The guy literally can never be president of the US because he wasn't born in the country. But goddamn, he's the president to me. This guy has the fucking power. This guy is the winner. You know? If another billionaire walked in, I don't even think they'd make it all the way halfway through the hallway without having a shot to the head. But this guy can spend literally a tenth of his actual money and basically effectively run what is the largest country in the world. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty fucking insane. That, one day there's going to be a movie made about this, I promise you. And this guy is going to be the fucking focal point of it. I honestly got to say, Elon is, in some way, the biggest winner that I've ever seen, dude. This is this guy's fucking year. This statement might age poorly for him, but to be honest, the way that things are going, I really do think this guy's just going to keep on winning and winning and winning. And there is no amount of Path of Exile 2 controversies that can stop it from happening. Now, obviously, there have been some pushback to this as well. For instance, an organization, Public Citizen, actually issued a real complaint, a lawsuit, from my understanding, to the, the U.S. Treasury for even allowing this, where they've basically said the Plaintiffs Alliance for Retired Americans, Federation of Government Employees, people that really do have the most benefit from this stuff, they are basically, going at it, right? They're filing this action against, the Department of Treasury, the Bureau of Fiscal Services, the agencies of the United States, for declaratory and injunctive relief to halt defendants' unlawful, ongoing, systemic, and continuous disclosure of personal and financial information contained in, defendants' records to Elon Musk and other members of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or to any other person. And honestly, using a legal system like this is probably the best vector of attack for something like this, because yes, like I said throughout all this, the most important thing is your personal information being accessed by a private party, okay? Again, I don't think this should ever be a weird sized issue. I think if anybody comes into, again, something this important, you as a citizen should just question, okay? You really should. You should critically think why somebody should be able to buy themselves in effectively the wallet of the United States. It doesn't really make sense, does it, right? Like, when you really think about it out loud, no matter how this is built, even if it's through, again, going through the Doge department to, again, cut wasteful government spending, which I think is a really noble goal. I do genuinely see the value in it. But you can't just go in and do whatever you want without, again, having some level of checks and balances. But it doesn't happen when you just sit in silence. But as of this even happening, there are other things that have me genuinely a little bit worried too. There's this one bill that I saw being passed, which is, again, notified as the Decoupling America's AI Capabilities from China Act of 2005. And this is very much off topic, but going into this, it really is a bill that, from what I can read, has people genuinely, under the threat of criminal prosecution if they decide to assist possible AI models like DeepSeek down the road. So I was reading into it, right? Chapter 124, Research and Development that benefits the PRC. And when you're going into unlawful acts, a U.S. person may not intentionally conduct, attempt, or conspire to conduct, or aid and abet in conducting research and development of AI or generative AI within the PRC, or an entity of concern on behalf of an entity of concern in collaboration with an entity of concern, or a national of the PRC on behalf of a national of the PRC in collaboration with a national of the PRC. So again, since this is an open source model, it makes me wonder just how overreaching this bill could be. And if the US government is trying to jump down and killing open source technologies, that is something you should also be questioning, right? I don't think your freedom should be restricted, and I also don't think your private information should effectively be up for sale. And there's probably going to be people that end the video off with, them saying, but Muda, they already had access to the information anyways, I don't care. And I'll say complacency is probably one of the worst things you can have. If you care about your freedoms, if you care about your privacy, if you care about your autonomy, if you care about your position in the world, you should fight for the most basic things in the world. And having your private information remain private, or at least protected by the federal government to some extent, should be something you go for. You should be asking questions as to what kind of weird servers and code is being injected into the wallet of the United States. But if you don't care, then you don't care. But if you do care, then maybe you should start asking those questions. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I would say this is one of the biggest hacks that I've ever seen. But is it really a hack when the guy just had the doors open for him anyways? Very transparently, I guess. It's insane. I am out.
information shows that the polar vortex is about to park everyone right over southern Canada, northern US, and just be a long cold spill all the way to at least the early 20s of February. Then mild back some, going to a mild beginning of March, then spring around the middle of March. But this also changes the pattern for these snowstorms and ice storms. So I got the latest information in this video for you. Still showing a lot of heavy rainfall and snow still coming across the Pacific Northwest. But as this transitions across, look how much lighter this has gotten, everyone. Now, as this transitions across for tomorrow, this is where it is going to change, and it has changed greatly, everyone. So the snowfall is still going to be a light amount for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. But look at the freezing rain scenario. Gotten a lot lighter. You might have a chance for 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain for southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, southern Michigan, and portions of northern Ohio before Ohio actually has a chance to turn even worse. And look how it goes towards Pennsylvania, and it just pivots and gets even stronger for northeastern Ohio. But now you get a lot of the freezing rain, you get the sleet, then you get the transition into snow as that moves away, leaving a lot of heavy freezing rain, a lot of ice in all this region for northern Virginia, some of New Jersey, for Maryland, for Pennsylvania. You can also see it's in an agreement with other models as well. Everyone, as soon as this cold blast comes down, it is going to park right over northern US, southern Canada, all the way to at least the 20th. Could go longer. When you check for that negative NAO, that blocking pattern bringing that cold air further into lower 48, look at this, they're in agreement. That's going all the way to the 20th, showing it could pull back a little bit before, but come right back down again. So you can see this as it stretches out all the way towards Valentine's Day. It retracts a little bit more, and it's going to have you like a fake spring. They fool you, thinking you're going to warm up again. But look how it comes together, and it all comes down and parks right over Canada, right over northern US, and brings everyone back into very cold temperatures. This is by the 19th. This is by the Euro. Also seen by the GFS, everyone. This is trending, showing once you go all the way towards Valentine's Day, that's where it's going to retract a little bit. You're going to think that this cold air is going to be gone, and it's not. Like I said, it's going to be a little fool you, a little fake spring feeling, and then it's going to come right back into the U.S. really deep. We're talking about this thing is going all the way into the Pacific, all the way into the Caribbean, and into the Atlantic. A big front coming through. So when you go to look at the long range, you can see what changed as you're going past Valentine's into the 15th. It sits there all the way until the 20th. And you stay below average in this pattern. It expands further towards the East Coast. And look how it hangs out even longer, all the way to the high 20s of February before finally retracting back in the first week of March. Then it looks like you could go into our spring. So the newest information that's been out since this morning is the impacts are getting worse for this ice chance. And you can see the greatest potential chance for the freezing rain, for the ice to form up for portions of northern Virginia, Maryland, going into Pennsylvania, everyone. But at least minor impacts of the freezing rain is going to hit for Pennsylvania, West Virginia, northern Virginia, go across northern Indiana, southern Michigan, northern Ohio. It will make for some messy and dangerous travel. Be aware of that. All these interstates going across. But it's getting way worse over here for Pennsylvania. Now you can see with the ensemble as well, all this freezing rain has shifted further towards the east. All this heavy snow is shifting further towards the north. You're still going to get some snow, but it's going to be a lighter amount. The second snowstorm is still going to be the heaviest one as you go from Friday towards Sunday. And look how it pivots and brings heavier freezing rain towards Pennsylvania as you go by into the morning. So it's all really concentrating right here on Pennsylvania. Then we still have that next one coming in from the West Coast as we go Friday, as we go Saturday and Sunday as it goes out through the Northeast. Showing it to be a lighter scenario, but still could bring a glaze of ice with it. Bring that heavier snow as well, and maybe pivot again right around Pennsylvania. Then we have this next one coming in, showing it's going to be mostly around the southern Appalachians by the mid-Atlantic, bringing that snow and that freezing rain while you have rain before that. After that, there's a reason why I'm showing you this. After that is when it finally transitions to what the Euro is seeing. Where you're going to get some freezing rain, some mix, and some snow coming across still as we go past the 10th all the way towards Valentine's Day. Look what the other models are seeing as well. The Euro showing it could pick up over here from southern Michigan, northern Indiana, a little bit of northern Illinois, and Ohio as it transitions towards northeast with that freezing rain. And as we get that next system coming in for next week, showing it could be a freezing rain trend as well. And as you go further south, remember, this is punching all the way towards the early 20s. Another chance for freezing rain or even some snow. Seeing the same thing with GFS on the freezing rain for these two storms coming this week, then one coming for next week, confirming it could be some freezing rain somewhere around mid-Atlantic for North Carolina, maybe Virginia. It could get an issue on the next storm system. Still showing it's going to be heavy snow for the northwest on this first storm system coming through. It's still going to be lighter amount of snow for Minnesota, Wisconsin, the UP, and northern Michigan. And for the northeast for New England, it's going to be heavier in Canada. As you get that second one coming through for Saturday and Sunday, that's where it's going to be heavier in the same locations. Northern is where it's going to be potentially anywhere from 9-10 inches to over a foot in the same areas that you get in the snowstorm this time. And then right after that, when you go just to the next 8 days, showing a chance for that transition of that snow to come through as well. Plus, it should go deeper later on because what we're seeing with this cold blast. So like I showed you a minute ago, before what the Euro sees on the snowfall coming across the Great Plains, you can see what GFS sees, showing that it will be somewhat of a warmer scenario the time of day that it comes. These are going to be quick moving storms, bringing a lot of heavy snowfall potentially towards North Carolina, eastern side of Tennessee, Kentucky, going through West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, even some of Jersey with that. Just all the way filling in the snow in the northeast for those that did not get it before. Now when you go by the Canadian, it's seeing pretty much what the GFS is seeing. There's going to be a better chance over here because of the time of day this happens. Still, all this gray is an inch or so. But still, it's showing it's going to be a warmer scenario. The southern chance is going to be after Valentine's Day. And the Canadian sees that as well, bringing that transition chance for that southern freezing rain at least. So now you can see the change in the heavy snowfall coming for next week, everyone. They have taken away some of this section right here, going all the way towards Oklahoma and across Ohio Valley for the chance for that heavy snow. That could still happen, but that's going to be around Valentine's Day. This is till the 12th and the 13th, and they see a warmer solution, so you have a best chance to get the heavy snowfall. And there is going to be a lot of storms coming through, bringing a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of training of these storms. That's why this snowfall will be very heavy. And you can see this here. National Weather Service has put this out, showing a warmer solution coming through. Chance for flash flooding with all this gray striped lines, and flooding in this green with some storms, bringing chances for flooding as well in this light green. But look how it transitions all that heavy precipitation towards the colder temperatures. That's why it turns right into very heavy snow, everyone. Showing just for the next 7 days, you have the precipitation coming across the west coast. But look at the training of these storms. This is why you're going to get that heavy snowfall coming with it. This portion will be chances for flooding. Then it will go right into snowfall. That's why you see heavy rates of snowfall. So I will keep you updated. Make sure you subscribe. Click the bell to get the updates. Thank you to everyone that shares the information. Let others know what is happening. Because this cold air is about to dig in really good into the U.S. and bring some cold temperatures. So I hope everyone is ready. Psalm 118, 21 through 26. I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation. The stone which the builder refused is become the headstone of the corner. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is a day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Save now, I beseech thee, O Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee, send now prosperity. Blessed be he that cometh in the name of the Lord. We have blessed you out of the house of the Lord. Amen. Have a great evening, everyone. I'll see you in the morning. I appreciate every single one of y'all. And remember, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life. and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great night, everybody.